Hey folks, John Duffin here, Duffin Media. Welcome back to another 5-day live or 5 live. I forget what the acronym is, and you'd think I'd know because I invented it. But in the meantime, it is great to have you here. What do we get to do here? Duffin Media, we optimize your communications by leveraging your voice. How does that work? Well, we get to have a little bit of fun. I've been dropping, started yesterday, and we're continuing again today. Some top tips, techniques, hacks to help you optimize your communications. So what do we get to do? Here's the fun part. If you are watching me on Facebook Live, absolutely brilliant and great. It's so cool to have you here. And if you're doing so, drop a note in the comments. I'll get to see it. I'll know you're here. We can cheer each other on and acknowledge each other. So again, if you're around, drop a note in the comment. I'll know you're around. That makes me happy. If you were watching on LinkedIn Live, yeah, that is great. We all about business here. We all about at Duffin Media. So happy to have you here as well too. Same deal. Drop a note in the comments if you're able, and also on YouTube. My buddy and business colleague Zach Carlin taught me the fact that the YouTube comments actually do come through. So let's check it out. If you're watching me on YouTube, absolutely great. We do all kinds of cool stuff on my YouTube channel. So hopefully you're there. And again, drop a note in the comments. I will see you. It will make you happy. It will cost you nothing. So here's what we get to do today. These are quick hits. These are mini sessions because look, we're all back to business, right? Right after Labor Day, everybody gets all keyed up. It's ready to roll. We got to get back to work. And by the way, that's whether you want to or not. Business moves, life moves. And so we're all back at it. And we were talking about yesterday that sense of not necessarily feeling the vibe of needing to rush back to work, or you were feeling the nerves because you'd rather be planted in a beach chair and meanwhile business is rolling. Folks, if you are here, let me know if you're an entrepreneur. Which entrepreneurs am I getting to work with and hang out with today? You run your own business. Things move because you have to get them to move. And whether you're leading your own teams or you're manning it, personing it, is that a word? Solo? Well, the fact of the matter is it moves because you move. So if you are here, let me know and I'll give you a special shout out. I'm also focusing today on those that are part of organizations. I focus on that, and actually I focus on both entrepreneurs and being a part of layered corporations because I've been a part of both of them. So right off the bat, I don't want to make you wait, right? So what we get to do is we bring up a scenario, and that scenario is what we're going to work with today. Wait a minute. My rock star friend, Rosalie McKenzie, who helps families, business-wise, take her seriously because she's one of the best of the best. Thank you for showing up for me today. I think it's wonderful. And so here's our business scenario that I'm bringing to the table. This may impact you directly, or you may know someone, or you've experienced this before. So, by the way, these scenarios these pictures that I'm painting, so to speak, in my cool brand colors, well, I'm doing so primarily because I have lived every one of these experiences. So I don't need to come up with theory in this case. I'm going to give you my lived experiences. The only exception I'll make is as we progress through the week and you're getting to hang out with me and you have a scenario that you want me to dive deeper in, then reach out to me in the chat, reach out to me in the comments, or I'll drop you my email at the end with an opportunity that you could get to again, a handout to take away, a leave behind. So this scenario I've absolutely lived with before. I've watched it, observed it, and lived it. Let me give you the scenario, the situation, right? So here's the situation today. You're back in the workplace. Everything is rolling at the speed of business, and you're feeling some tension within your workplace. Not only that, but you've noticed a few closed door meetings. You see it, and you weren't invited. So you're also noticing when you seek to join these conversations, whether it's a recap or just knocking on the door, right? You're also noticing that you're getting shorter answers from your executive team. They're a little more direct, they're a little more terse, they're a little less friendly. So in your mind, I'll speak for me. Maybe this applies to you. In your mind, you start to project scenarios. I've done that. Has anyone before done that? Not like, is it just me? Where they have projected, oh, that must mean the door is closed and I'm on the other side. Well, that must mean, and then I would come up with something crazy or paranoid or delusional. Most often, none of them were true, but they're clues, right? You always want to be on the correct side of the door if you're part of an organization. You want to be included. Your communications really matter, and your mind could play tricks on you. Okay. So, what's your plan? What's your plan? I mean, you could just ignore this situation, hope for the best, roll on, do your thing, as they say, or you could get in front of this. Ask for a conversation, ask for a meeting. Do either of those work? Do any of those ideas work? That is our situation that we're going to get to play around with a little bit today. So you're back in the scheme of things. And by the way, there's going to be a basic common thread. Whether your conversations are personal, the communications are personal, whether they are business driven, whether they have a direct result in mind or a longer term relationship driven end result in mind. The truth of the matter is every communication really matters, right? You want to get what you want, whether it's as simple as validation or approval, or if you're asking for something, well, obviously you're asking for a reason, right? So whatever it is, the communication matters. I don't mean to put any sort of any extra heaviness on it, but you've got to be able to speak in a way that demonstrates that you need to be heard and that you are understood. What you're asking for is what's being heard by the receiver. Who's the receiver in this case? Talk to me. Yeah, exactly. Your clients. I'll give one. Your audience, your bosses, the stakeholders, the shareholders, whoever you're speaking with, that's the receiver of the message. So the intent of the message varies, not to get all data scientific geeky here, but the fact of the matter is it's all the same. It's all the same. You want to get what you intended to get. Moving the needle forward, driving the sale, closing the deal. If you're realtors and you're watching me, and I hope you are, I get to know a bunch of them. From the communication side, are you improving the relationship? Are you moving the ball forward? Whether it is a listing, whether you are working with buyers, you're trying to move the needle, okay? So that's the foundation. So let me go through a couple of things real fast here. I always ask this question. Have you ever had a conversation, presentation, or encounter in business where you received surprisingly negative feedback? What do I mean? You're thinking, oh, everything's going great here. I feel really good. I brought all my cool materials. I brought a bunch of snacks. I'm crushing it. And you were either getting weird body language or lack of what you're looking for. You just couldn't figure out why. Did that ever happen to you? Well, it happened to me. That's why I'm demonstrating this here. I'm going to help you. With every business conversation, choose your thoughts wisely. What do I mean? Remember when we're saying you start to have thoughts in regards to what could it be if you're noticing people may not be as slap happy as they were before the Labor Day break or during the course of the summer, Maybe they're a little more buttoned up. I remember people dressing really much tighter come September. But here's really the clue. And folks, I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what communication it is from a networking perspective, whether it's a first time communication, a reintroduction, or if it's a serious business conversation. I mean it. When you are speaking, it only matters if it matters to them. People are so preoccupied with other things. And by the way, here's a preview. So often it has nothing to do with you, what they're preoccupied with. Every time, have you ever been that type of person in communication? You're so worried about what they think, or when they go away, what they're thinking, or what, oh, well, that must mean, it could mean you are completely out of their mind. Their family, their kids, their project, their boss, their finances, their social life, their lack thereof, whatever it happens to be, some goofy nonsense on social media, right? It only matters if it matters to them. So here's your tip for today. Honest to God, when you do your homework, you naturally speak with confidence. So how do you do that? You get to know the situation or the circumstances and help someone, right? Let me give you an example of a terrible conversation starter. Tell me a little bit about yourself. I can't imagine, by the way, my back goes up every time I hear somebody say that. And you might be like, I've never heard anybody. I've heard people say that a lot. Hey, tell me a little bit more about yourself. So what brings you here today? No one should have to ask you that. No one, right? Well, so what's up? What's new? They're all different shaded variations of the same thing, which means you are immediately facing an uphill battle. You got to demonstrate your worth. You've got to demonstrate the situation. You got to up the ante. Right? And then you get defensive. Anyone else? Let me help you in regards to a conversation. Do your homework. Here's the fun part. It doesn't take that much time to do your homework. You think, I'm very busy. I've got a million things I'm trying to navigate. I can't do all this research or whatever in regards to my new client, my new opportunity, my new colleague, whatever it is. I'm telling you, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Let me give a specific example. So I happen to host a podcast. If anybody's here and listens to or watches my podcast, God love you. It's called Your Message Received. And the whole intended point of the podcast is I bring people on because they matter to me. And I bring people on because some guests are on a regular basis. Some have been on one time. They have one thing in common. I want to know what they have to say about certain things. And I demonstrate that by doing a little bit of homework. So when they come on the show, my goal, my mission, and it should be yours, is you should not be walking in with a blank slate. If you're like an artist and now it's like, okay, I'm going to start painting colors. I'm intentionally going back because I saw this paint job before, right? And so I say that in this regard, know what you're talking about. Oh, another rock star is here. Sandra Lee, folks, you've really got to follow the Light It Up Project and a million other incredible things. Please, please, please follow Sandra Lee, who does incredibly strong things, is a killer public speaker, and helps a ton of people. So, how can you move a conversation forward and get out of that paranoid sort of, what are they talking about? Why am I not included? Why am I fixated? How do you do your homework? Pretty easy. Take the emphasis off yourself. When I host a podcast, I rarely am thinking, so what do I want to get out of this? What would I like to say? In fact, I never do. I never do. That's a learned skill, by the way. I'm not telling you that because I'm such an amazing person. I'm telling you that because it's a really easy teachable skill. Get it out of yourself. So, have you ever noticed when you speak with someone and you hit a note that they know, whether it is a business need, whether it's a personal matter, whether it's an observation about them, and you're correct? How do people typically respond? In your experience, you hit a note, you hit a nerve, you see something, and by the way, there's your answer. I didn't mean to blab the answer. I'd rather hear it from you. But the answer, you know it, you feel it, you see it. People resonate. They nod their head. They may smile. Here's what often happens. They'll give you more information, which is really what you want in relationship, sales, leveraging, navigating in business, closing sales, elevating your profession, and staying a part of a company in a very competitive environment. Speak to people about what matters to them, not what matters to you. Okay? It always, always works. So, a couple of questions that you can ask them. I'll give you an example. These are always leading questions. So you're getting away from the blank slate. Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. Why are you here today? What can I do for you? They are not questions that you want to hear on either side. Okay. So, social media. If you're hanging out with me today on Facebook or LinkedIn, that is great. The magic part of social media is not to scroll endlessly all day. Not that I'd know anything about that. Really a habit I'm trying to break. But here, you want to actually use it for good? Look up somebody. Look up somebody. I've learned something on the podcasts, by the way, which is important to me. And a shout out to somebody who is a relative of mine. She's amazing, and she is in the digital television, the on-air landscape. She's spectacular. I won't out her. Her first name is Sheila, and she's one of the best of the best of the best. She's a great talent, and she's also a great interviewer. So they put her in front of a lot of celebrities. One of the things that I saw in an article about my cousin first removed or second cousin. I never get that right, but she's amazing nonetheless. One of her tips, and I try to use it, which is, as she says, I try to ask the person I'm speaking to or with. I really try hard not to ask them the same thing they've been asked 400 times previously. How do you do that? Dig a little bit. Look for news. Look on their social page. What matters to them now is always better than what matters to them ever, right? If you are aware of something, white papers, you can Google them, for God's sake. I learned that in a training situation. Did it. It always works. Company white papers. Google priorities X company 2024. Vision statements, and date this stuff when you're looking up information. Why? Because here's a question that you can ask, and when I say you speak with confidence, I'm telling you this is money in the bank. Oh, I saw on your website, I saw online in an article that you were referencing blah, 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 blah. Does that still matter to you now? Don't finish their sentences. Don't make assumptions. Just make them aware when you are speaking with somebody, a client, would listing, buying in real estate, sales, revenue generation, my field, broadcast ad sales. Ask them something that matters now. Is that still so? Or do you have other priorities? Want to go back to that example where I talk about the fact that you're a little squirrely, so to speak, because you're nervous that you're not a part of these certain conversations, here's the questions that you can ask, whether it's leadership, stakeholders. Hey, right now, and we talked about this yesterday, right now I'm focusing on, and this is a question, right now I happen to be focusing on revenue generation from the automotive sector because I've noticed that we are not pacing at a level that you and I, that we've previously discussed. So I'm putting more focus there, setting appointments, leading my team, whatever the case may be. That's half the question. Here's the action. That's an observational statement showing you did your homework. This is where I intend to focus because I've noticed, I've realized. Here's the question. Is that where I should still be headed? Would you rather I head in another direction? Not tell me what to do or even what do you think? Help them. I'm telling you, you want to get on the other side of that door where the conversations actually matter. The people that are on the other side of the door, so to speak, the right side of the door, they're the ones that are helping the people asking the questions. That's how you're getting in the door. You're helping someone, and they feel that. They feel that trust because you have earned that trust. So when you see conversations happening and you're not in them, you can get all paranoid and start thinking, well, I'm just going to find out, or I'll get to the bottom of this, or get all defensive and weird. Well, I've delivered so much and I can't believe, or you cannot, right? Because you're going to sound paranoid. You're going to sound needy. You're going to sound questioning. Why wasn't I not included in that meeting? Why was I not about? You just sound off. You want to sound confident. You want to sound like you're on your game. We talk about optimizing your communications, leveraging your voice. Here's how. Speak with confidence because not only do you know things, here's the real secret sauce. You demonstrate that you don't know everything. You're strong enough to finish by asking a question. Does this still work for you? Am I headed in the right direction? Do you see things differently? I'd like to know. You're demonstrating the fact you don't know it all, but you've done your homework. And what happens? Your voice sounds more engaging, inclusive, helpful. All the things that senior leadership want. Your big money clients, it's what they want. If they entrust you to help them navigate, and I'm telling you, anytime money's involved, people work with confidence. And I don't mean arrogance, right? One more tip for today that we're going to go with as well, too. Really, there's a big difference between sounding confident and sounding arrogant. Anybody want to help me in terms of why? What? How? Okay, I'll go first. That all works great. I'm assuming you're taking very, very copious notes for this question. Good. But here's a good thing to entrust yourself with, right? Arrogance is a stance. Arrogance is often based upon selfish assumptions, or worse, it's based on nothing, right? When you sound arrogant, have you ever heard the expression, in my personal life, I'm very familiar with the expression, fake it until you make it, right? From a personal vantage point, I happen to be in recovery. One of the things about myself, it's not one it's just a part of me, and it's been a part of me. And so from that personal vantage point, I have heard that. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest with you. If it works for you, great. That mantra, fake it until you make it, great. If that works for you, cool. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying for me, because it's a fake stance. And you don't have to try that hard to be authentic. That's my whole deal, is when you are speaking true and authentic, you automatically sound more confident, even when you don't know the answers. People want to hear that. Vulnerable is not weak. Arrogant is not strong or confident. So why I say you want to go in with all that bluster. I know in certain fields, people just assumed from an executive standpoint that they were just going to sashay through the door, client's office or a listing, a big money client or a big money agency, and they were going to saunter in the door because they, in their mind, they were all that. And I've watched people get shown the door a lot. I'm grateful because I grew up in a blue collar setting that I never felt that way about myself. So I did my homework. That's why I know this works, right? So do your homework before you have a conversation with anybody. With anybody. Do your homework, right? Because when you do, tomorrow we're going to focus on this more, and I'm going to talk about watering the plants. But I'm a massive believer in you speak to someone, not at someone. The easiest way to have an engaging, authentic, productive, successful, revenue generating conversation is you speak to people. But I promise you, we will get a little bit more in terms of tomorrow's tip, talking to people and not at people. Don't forget, by the way, from yesterday, always put yourself in a position to win. Okay. So when you're ready to ask the questions, the leading questions, when you're able to speak with more confidence, give yourself the advantage of not racing into a meeting. We talked yesterday. Check out the replay where we went through the breathing techniques of the Navy SEALs part that matters so much. It's one of my training techniques. It takes all of 16 seconds. And then we demonstrate the body of evidence why you deserve to be in a room. But more to follow on all of that. Hey, folks, before we wrap, I had this really cool, handy dandy takeaway sheet. And I'm going to put it up on the screen right now, as a matter of fact. And so I call it my optimized communications checklist. Series of things that you can do. I talk about like being the pace car at every meeting, leading the pack, why every communication matters, as we're speaking of today, encouraging team conversations, a bunch of quick, easy reminders before you walk into a room, walk into a meeting, walk into your next important encounter, right? And just go through the checklist real fast. I'll happily get this to you. What do you have to do? Not much, but if you drop the word tips to my email address, so all you have to say is tips. Send it to jd@duffinmedia.com. I was typing my own email address. Yeah, I do know it. jd@duffinmedia.com. I will get you this takeaway cheat sheet. There is something cool about it. Have it on your wall, have it on your person. So before you go into your next big meeting, take just a quick glance to double check yourself one more time. Because again, remember, it only matters if it matters to them. Folks, this is where I'm going to wrap up today. Again, simple email, jd@duffinmedia.com, and I'll get you that takeaway sheet. Speaking of finding me easily, any day, every day. See that QR code? That gets to me really quickly. Get you to my website. So if you want to learn more, if you want to customize things more to you, your situation, or the matter at hand, whether it's a specific client, if it's a specific financial opportunity, if it is a series of things, if it is to get that job, keep that job, and ascend up the corporate ladder, that's where I can help. My sales training, my sales coaching, all that sort of thing. We can always make it customizable to you and your organization. So that QR code, have at it. Get at me. We'll schedule which is pretty easy to do, right? We will schedule a discovery call, find out where I can help you specifically and most, so that we're using your highest and best use of time and making certain that we're solving problems. And we go right back to it only matters if it matters to you. So reach out to me when you need me. Folks, I'm going to drop today, and replay is in my social media. Again, remember, you find me easily Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube for these lives. I will be back Thursday, 12 noon. I am right here. Oh my gosh. So I got to tell you, and Sandra is such a pro. So just the fact that you're saying that means a lot to me. We keep it simple, right? But productive. My whole intention and point is that you can walk away today, now, and use these techniques. And I'm telling you, you will improve. Do a little bit of homework, a little bit. Don't kill yourself. Don't miss opportunities. Do a little bit of homework. It's going to set you above the pace. Ask the leading questions. And if you're in an uncomfortable situation, how do you fix it? Make somebody more comfortable is how you do it, because you're going to take some of the burden off of them and help them. When you help your organizations, your clients, they tend to entrust you more. And that's what it's all about here. When I talk about optimizing your communications, that's what we get to do with Duffin Media. So listen up. I am over the moon grateful that you showed up for me today. I promise you, I will be back here tomorrow at 12 noon with way more to follow. I'm thrilled. I'm grateful that you showed up for me. John Duffin, Duffin Media here. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and we will catch up soon. I'll see you soon. Bye.